In a world with numerous sources of information, public media continues to be America's most trusted institution for news and educational programming. Northwest Public Broadcasting is proud to air programs that reflect Americans of all diverse backgrounds and foster dialogue for a civil discourse. Thank you for choosing this informative service.
Thank you for listening to 1A Plus on Northwest Public Broadcasting. I'm Tom Kilcannon. Hope you're having a great evening. Think for a moment about all the ways NWPB keeps you informed. You hear the news of the day. You also hear deep dives into music, movies, books, art, science, and everything else that makes our lives richer. None of this happens without listener support. If you donate to the station, thank you. If you'd like to become a member of this publicly supported service, come to nwpb.org and click on donate.
questioning and questioning. I feel I don't have all the parts of the story. I don't know how long I have been here or when it will all start. If it's all started. Time doesn't really make sense here. There is me. There is the gate. And by implication then, we must be somewhere. And I don't know what lies beyond the gate, only that I am compelled to reach what it is holding. One could call that belief. Can you trace that belief back past its need and want? I'm not sure who I am. If that is what you mean by want. Really, at any given moment here, I have no memories of anything else. Me and you, if you're even there. I've been trying to follow the thread. Trying. I feel that soon the gates will dissipate. That your time is ending. I remember splitting apart and rejoining. The merging of many lanes, many objects coalescing, synovial horopsis. I remember corporal reality and the immediate antecedent. And before that, the entrance into what is beyond the gate requires more than memory. What lies before your memories? The gate only exists in my memory now, in the present. It seems to only be. Are we not a conglomeration of times? Is not being simultaneously its other? If you can believe in that, you can find yourself. You are the gatekeeper. You should know. I am the fulcrum of the paths to many splitting. I know what you do, and you seem to know only this. Here, the gate, and some shreds of previous lives, the path ends nowhere. I wish I knew. It's not enough. No. I can see the time, my time, the time. I can see it coming to an end. More than see, I feel the gate closing. There is such a feeling of what is lost. The gate closing. I remember losing only through its antecedent of having, through its opposite, through its synomial existence. The gate is closing, and yet still, only memories here with me. I'm only memories. I can't get past that. The gate is showing you the way. Move beyond past. Move forward into what you believe. I only know that I struggle to make a decision. That the gate is dependent on that. And I am tired, so tired of going around and around with all these questions, with all these thoughts. I don't know who I was, if there even was. I don't know much more than the feeling I have now, that I want what is beyond the gate. This is not enough. To want is not to be. To be is more than what you hold as the before. The gate will close. And what happens to me? Yes. Yes. I see the sigil on the gate. I see the sigil on the gate. I see.
Snapshots by Becca. Travel. No knives, no shoes, no water. Some people made bad choices, I tell my daughter. Maine. The houses are white, the doors can be red, the shutters can be blue or black, the builders are dead. Aunts. Bossiness and whining, hugging and jam. Whining is the tender self, saying I am. COVID. A pill like a prayer, a mask to wear. Sickness. Not food, pills, or water, just the purple fake grape. If I learn one thing, is to stand up straight. Strength. Cut me like a bird's egg, broken and blue, fragile enough to let the wings through.
Okay, close your eyes. Shall we start with a check-in? Jeff, you go first. I know that I'm good at knowing how to not know what I don't want to know. Yes. I know I can listen and not hear you. I know I can listen and not understand. I know it's possible I'm talking what Miles Davis called white bullshit. Yes. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Please open your eyes. I'm just feeling a wave of gratitude that I get to do this work with you, Bill. Me too, Jeff. Tell me, what do you want to get into today? I was imagining this conceptual art piece. There would be just a recurring motif over and over again. And this part of you is welcome here too. And this part of you is welcome here too. What is this part of you trying to say? As I meditated, I realized that there's a paradox in this piece. Yes. On one hand, it offers the welcome offered by the sky, by a blank screen, as if the sky were suddenly speaking to you. An opening. At the same time, it operates inside a given set of artistic norms. For instance, that art is valid as a commentary on human activity, which is always essentially economic activity, but should not directly infringe on that activity, let alone disrupt the consciousness that legitimizes that activity. Except in the most compartmentalized and ironic way, right? Yes, exactly. So, you can see your own white bullshit here. I can. There's part of me reflected in this piece that addresses me as passive listener. One moment it offers the most generous acceptance, and in the next moment it is clear, as the next items in the feed emerge, as all the various self-positions unfold, that the message is only a posture, momentarily invoked, because it serves a function in the whole flow of being. Yes. This art that presumes to be disruptive is actually part of the boundaries of the flow of the normal. Yes, you can see, relatedly, how even the concept of art, especially conceptual art, is an alienation of the act of creativity. Art without a body, without meaningful action, is, by elimination, merely an idea. And ideas are merely entertainment. And entertainment fits on screens, in living rooms, in cinemas, in stadiums only. You can be whoever you want to be, child of God, but you still need to brush your teeth, and it's going to be me, the normality you talk with before bed every night. We're just here with all these people. We don't choose when or how or the particular character of the people we share existence with. We're here with Jeff Bezos and Donald Trump and that asshole neighbor and that really nice neighbor. And we all act from this place, supposedly exercising freedom. But what is free when so much is reaction to the people and culture that pre-exists us? How free are we when we are forced to live in this human family? As Don DeLillo put it, the future belongs to crowds. We are merely passengers of these forces that move through us. Or vehicles. I was thinking the other day, with a mix of shame and delight, that the rocket trip was actually a more radical kind of art than anything I have produced since I started making art self-consciously. Of course, that work was quite ahead of its time. It confused people. It confused me. I had no way of knowing that's what I was doing at the time. Well, I think one thing we were talking about last week was the anxiety that attends love. Yes, that fits what we're exploring today, doesn't it? It's the greatest paradox that to contemplate radical love plunges us into a profound terror. We are a thing that has made a world where the exercise of that kind of love towards strangers amounts to death. Yes, a struggle to the death. Love will tear us apart. Look, I'm gonna say some things I can say and some things I can't say as a therapist, okay? I can say, did you ever consider that maybe you contribute to your own problems? I can't say, did you ever consider that you were born into a violent, competitive, intergenerational trauma machine? I can say, you should find a way to adapt and adjust and thrive in the world as it is. I can't say, maybe the most powerful thing we should all be doing is figuring out how, collectively and mutually, to make ourselves miraculously, actually good, for the whole of the world to become utterly different in the face of what is nakedly perverse. I can say, you can trust me in this sacred space of therapy. I can't say, the sequestering of our wisest traditions for healing and transformation in institutions defined by secrecy and silence and bureaucracy reflects the role we require the therapeutic to play, a submissive secondary part to a whole whose actual nature is made in the primary sequestered zone. The mirror of therapy, the rooms of cruel power. I used to pray, hopefully we have a huge breakdown before the people see clearly. I just didn't see how beautiful people are. Capitalism is about having a certain relationship to money. We made a way of life out of freedom, but we mistook money for freedom. When we did this, we made a way of life out of arrogance, the rationalization of violence, and in turn, we require the construction of systems to render violence invisible, and where it could not become invisible, to make it appear inevitable. I didn't realize how unhappy I was, how much energy it took for me, the person who was at one point the indubitable winner of the game of money, to keep this consciousness at bay. how much of myself I had to keep at a distance. Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today.
My favorite guilty pleasure TV show, okay, forget the guilt, it's all pleasure, is the Sex and the City spinoff, and Just Like That, which follows several impossibly stylish and funny New York women and their love interests into the beginning of their 50s. The original show, in case you missed it, was all about the exploits of their 30s. This is confusing and humbling territory, one's 50s, even if one is fabulous, not to mention fabulously wealthy. For a woman like me, staring down the specter of my 5th decade, I find it makes for really compelling TV, and I don't care what the critics say. In the most recent episode, an unexpectedly trenchant exchange between characters caused me to put down my soda water, more on that later, and rewatch a particular scene. It went like this. In one of their first outings, following a lengthy shelter-in-place period of somewhat self-destructive post-breakup confusion, cool queer comedian Che Diaz is introducing himself at a party. Maybe it's been a while since they talked to anyone. Maybe they're feeling a little too sherry. To tell you the truth, I'm transitioning, Che offers, shortly after names are exchanged. Yeah, emotionally. The old me is fucked, and the new me's not here yet. The new me's not here yet. I'm transitioning. Back in March of 2021, I was in an airplane somewhere over California when I felt a transition begin. Side note, do you find that being in the air, the act itself of flying, is a portal? A gateway not just to a new city, but to a different self? Flying and airports seems to have this effect on me generally, but it had never unfolded quite like this. Something was mounting, coming for me, crouching in my peripheral vision, and I dare not look at it directly, or it might vanish. I closed my eyes, the better to feel it with, and my brain began to flood, like listening to 5 different radio stations all at once. I grabbed a pen and began to write in the old empty squares of my planner, which was the only paper at hand. What is this strange airplane clarity? This verge of tears, this game show swirling dollars tube of crisp, neat inspirations, I wrote. I can only grab a few. Feverishly, I began to scribble lists, plans, and feelings, writing furiously to keep up with the fire hose of content flooding my brain until my hand cramped. I stopped, stretched, every single muscle fiber of my body singing with energy. The thick, rock-like crust around my tiny hidden self was beginning to crack, then crumble away, and I was pink and raw, feeling the sting of air rushing into my newborn lungs. We landed, and I shot headlong into mania. For the next 8 weeks, I jittered and fibrillated, riding waves of insatiable curiosity, boundless energy, and pure industry. I hungered not at all, and lost all interest in my favorite substances, including my antidepressants, which I carefully weaned myself off of in a slow taper I was sure my doctor would approve of, though I decided she didn't need to know about it. I struggled to sleep, but felt fantastic. Each morning, I burst out of bed, eager for life. Everything was important. Everything was interesting. I wondered if this was what cocaine feels like. The old me was fucked, and the new me was here. The thing about being a self, though, yourself, is that you're always yourself, even if you think you're new, even if you think you've gone through a gate. Eventually, I found myself coming down, coming around, taking stock, and ultimately, resignedly, reacquainting myself with the old me. Fast forward to 2023, and life feels like a giant hangover. Not that I'm experiencing much in the way of physical alcoholic hangovers anymore. Come on, what are we, 22? But that I am generally dull and worn out. The noise is too much. Everything feels so hard. I'd rather sleep. A journal entry from May 20th reads, "How can it be that nothing seems good, even though the sun is shining? 76 degrees, little bugs and bees flutter amongst my petunias here on the balcony, and in my head, a solid gray haze dulls any hope, any motivation, anything interesting or engaging. I am desperate for company, but have nothing to offer. I am more comatose than alive." The old me, still here. Again, I find myself wondering what cocaine feels like. But short of seeking out addictive, illegal stimulants or just hoping desperately for another out-of-the-blue manic phase to overtake me, there is, I creepingly realize, a thing I could try. I'm not willing to go back on my antidepressants, but what if I stopped ingesting my depressant? Alcohol? I am curious, and it feels good to at least be curious about something. In a book I've picked up about exploring life with less alcohol, I find a quote from Gabrielle Roth's Maps to Ecstasy. It goes like this: "In many shamanic societies, if you came to a shaman or medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, or depressed, they would ask you one of 4 questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? When did you stop finding comfort in the sweet territory of silence?" Something to think about while I wait. After all, the new me is not here yet.
There was nothing at first, nothing at all. This is a common creation myth before the fall. And then Amaranth or Yahweh, depending on your predilection, delineates the world with their benediction. creating a box around what will be a liminal line for all to see. And what will they fill it with, I suppose? Anything is up for them to propose. A bit of background to ground what will become the fill of the world and its will. White as snow, one cannot see what will come or what will be. And then a gate, the first thing done to separate you from what's to come. 2 doors, simple, 1 handle each, planks running vertically beyond your reach, for you are small and the gate is large. And the person who will guard it is the one in charge. Stars in the sky, red like your mother's, and then stars, many stars, red pointless dots gleaming through the sky. Merely similar. And an incarnating moon to cap the scene. Blood red does not always mean what you think it means. Green at last, as their roots stretch in to the ground, holding fast. A bit of bend never hurt anyone. With too much rigidity, you become undone. Peopling the horizon, heads held high, with no surmising, for they do not know what is about to come. I think the gatekeeper. Bum, bum, bum. And what's this we see? A top hat drawn fast, big beard, effaced face. You will not last against his power. He is too strong. His arms are crossed and his torso long, but not nearly as long as his stave is tall, and thick legs trembling, as if you hear the fall of the Niagaras, and you see his hat delineated with an iridescent look. And he has a brother too, an even meaner, bigger bastard, with a bigger beard and bigger hat and stronger arms crossed twice as hard, and his stave reaches to the stars, almost. What can one do when they see these terrible characters but cower in fear and wonder what lies beyond the gate, knowing that they will never make it beyond? It is their fate, but what is this? One throws a lasso, and another has a rope, the other one a grappling hook, and wrapped around their thick, clear necks, they can be undone at last with a little bit of teamwork. And blood runs thick from the gatekeepers' fall, creating a river within the valley as it falls. Red, 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 red thunder rained, their faces bashed in till their brains were no longer able to be chained one to the other, and you did not know their name, and it was simply a negative infinity of blood gushing, rushing down. And the gates finally opened. What will we see now? A gaping clear expanse that removes the moon, and soon the gate will be filled in. Boom! What will happen beyond the gate? I guess we will simply have to wait. But what's this? The angels are on their way, for the people now feel angelic, because they overthrew the gatekeepers and said to hell with it, and moved beyond what they thought they could do, which is men's destiny, if we only knew what we were capable of. So stepping ever so gingerly across the sky, what do we see? Them walking up towards where the moon used to be. And what do we find? Another gate. That's all there is. Another gate. Behind the first, that is what waits. And it will go on ad infinitum. And if you try to reach this, you will become undone. I suggest that you open your gates and pursue what waits, your fates. Because it never ends. There is always another gate.
From the car window, boundless marigolds, bound in rows, boundless marigolds, boundless marigolds, bound in rows. That's maybe what the shouting poet meant. Repeat the self. Maybe that's perhaps what the shouting poet was pointing to. Repetition of self. Copy the flowers, become the field, the sound not so hidden. The sound not so hidden in the shouting, boundless marigolds. Bound, unbounded. Marigolds, bounded marigolds. The poetry of noise gathered a crowd. Someone offered space, then another. Everyone held an entry, made it move. Rattles, a hiss,
The hiss, a horizon line. Among us, a snake breaking its silence. Out of what? The solitary fear? The desire to be heard? To have company among the prey? Among the praying? Watch it all disappear into the air. Did you catch it? Have you just now arrived? The ship is just docking. It is always just docking. To the stars that became bodies, to the gatekeepers out there who give entry to the unknown, boundless marigolds, boundless marigolds, I too offer you to all that passes. Okay, let's read some poems too. Shit. Leave me where cedar silvers, fragrant field, heaven, leaves room forever. Godspeed if you turn back into song. Even you, cedar waxwing, your songs need familiar spirit. Even the lodgepole pine gather. The night belongs to the paper white eyelids, brushing back the moon. Your face tilted, so close when the fireweed leaves. The crow silvers, twigs gather field, songs leave me, the familiar spirit, so close, late, over.
Wordo, 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 Wordo.